Well, there's a reason everyone struggles to memorize Scripture, and I am included in that group. Memorizing is hard, but the real secret, if there is one, is simply this: repetition over time. I get that from an alumnus of Southern Seminary, a friend of mine, Pastor Andy Davis, who has published a little booklet on Scripture memory. He has memorized 42 books of the Bible, and he claims that he does not have an exceptional memory. Now, the first word of encouragement from that is, he says, I cannot quote 42 books of the Bible to you. He doesn't have full recall of 42 books. Because after he does his process of completing the memorization of that book, for 100 days afterward, he repeats it once a day, so 100 times. And then he moves on to another book. And once he does that, he stops reviewing the book he just finished. And he said once he stops reviewing, he begins to lose the memory of that. The memory erodes. He does no longer have full recall. And the farther it is down the line, the less of it he remembers. Now, he still remembers a lot just because of the effort he's put into it. So it's encouraging, I think, in some sense that this guy hasn't permanently retained 42 books of the Bible. But that's why he says you can do this too. Andy's approach is recorded in his booklet, An Approach to Extended Memorization of Scripture. There's a link to that in the notes below. In summary, in his method, you start with the first verse of the book, of course. You read it aloud 10 times. Then you cover it and try to quote it from memory 10 times, looking at it as you need to. Then you're done for day one. On the second day, you review first. So you try to recite that first verse 10 times. By the 10th time, you've usually got it cold. Then you go to the next verse and repeat. You read it aloud 10 times, and then you cover it and try to recite it 10 times. Then the third day, you review the first two by trying to quote them. Then you read that third verse 10 times aloud. Then you try to quote it 10 times aloud. You just follow that until you finish the book. And he spends no more than 15 minutes a day doing that. Through this method, over years, he's memorized 42 books of the Bible. But you know what? If you memorize one verse a month, one verse, it's 12 verses a year, you're way ahead of almost every Christian. So whether you use Dr. Davis's method or whether you use one of the popular scripture memory apps to help you. A few years ago, I went through the iTunes store and found every scripture memory app that was there, evaluated them, sorted them down to the top 4, and then finally settled on one, which I try to use on a regular basis. And so if you want an app like that can help you wherever you are, it has so many ways of reading it to you if you're in the car, for example. So really, where there's a will, there's a way. The real secret is the desire and the commitment. And for all of us, it's just repetition over time. There's no magic way that will just instantly put it in your mind and permanently keep it there. That's the way it is for just about everybody. So find a method that works for you, stick with it, and you will memorize Scripture. And whether you memorize entire books of the Bible or whether you memorize one verse a month for a year, the benefits, though, of that is well worth the investment of time.